DM, defense, North Korean hackers, and opening formal relations with Cuba. Those were just some of the topics today as Senators John McCain, Jeff Flake, and Congressman Paul Gosar visited Davis-Monthan. The group has been visiting a number of Arizona bases. McCain says budget cuts should not close Davis-Monthan or Fort Huachuca because DM's A-10s and Fort Huachuca's intelligence and electronic warfare abilities are becoming more and more important in the face of a new surge of Islamic extremism. 9 Your Side's Craig Smith talked to the senators today. He joins us live in the newsroom. Craig.
Still, the military has been straining to cope with across-the-board budget cuts under a requirement called sequester. It took effect when Congress failed to agree on more careful and selective cuts. Senator McCain hopes to convince the rest of Congress to lift the sequester, but even with it still in effect, he says he will use his clout to make sure Davis-Monthan and Fort Huachuca are not cut because their qualities fit the fights that face our military now. Senator McCain says he will use his clout as chair of the Senate Armed Services Committee to keep the Air Force from retiring the A-10 because it is the best plane we have for protecting troops on the ground. He says DM has a bright future because it's close to the Goldwater training range, an ideal place to train for operations in the Middle East and Afghanistan. With North Korea accused of hacking into Sony studios, Senator McCain says that shows the value of Fort Huachuca, where the Army teaches electronic warfare and intelligence skills.
The correct response is wake up. Look at what the North Koreans are capable of doing. Look at what they have been able to penetrate as far as some of our defense equipment is concerned and capabilities.
Senator Jeff Flake has just returned from Cuba, where he was part of the release of American prisoners. He supports President Obama's efforts to open formal relations with Cuba for the first time in more than 50 years.
We want Cuban people to be freer, and I think that we stand a better chance of that by normalizing relations and allowing Americans to travel more freely there.
I just believe that it's an oppressive and repressive government and shouldn't have been rewarded. I respect Jeff's position on it. He is knowledgeable on the issue. I just happen to disagree.
Now, the two senators and the congressman toured several bases today. Earlier, they visited Luke Air Force Base in Maricopa County, then went to Fort Huachuca. After Davis-Monthan, they headed to the Marine Corps Air Station in Yuma.